tiny adjustment before proceeding. I realized that he's complaining to TypeScript about this setting, while importing TS extension. So after a quick research, we need to add this, emit declaration only true, and save it. And also here, save it. Now he's happy. Now we want to change the load Wi-Fi node use case. We need to update it to return the real data from the API. So instead of returning the static feed data, we're going to essentially call the API. Here it is the code that I prepared. You guys can see there's a fetch. We will refine it later. This is a simple fetch call to this API, which is hosted in one of my local machine. It's called scan Wi-Fi, and then the data returned. It's called JSON, of course, but the important part is that we have to respect the contract that we promised before. So we said explicitly that we're returning a promise of a Wi-Fi node array. So you guys see how we can use the types and clean architecture separation of concern at our advantage. So we removed the static data which was there, and now we are plugging in a new part of the system. This one is naive. We will refine it later because we don't want to explicitly use a technology in here. But for now, just to make it work, we can save it and see what happens. Let's see in the window. I'm going to enlarge it. Let's refresh it. And we have some errors. And these ones, they are called CORS policy error. This happens when it's a classic. You probably have seen this before. It happens when the request is made from a different domain, like localhost is trying to call that. And the change needs to happen, the fix for this needs to happen on the backend. So we need to allow to update the backend so that it will allow requests coming from other sources. So that's not a big deal. Let's do it. Okay, we're back. I fixed it. So what needs to be done? This is the backend. We need to install an additional package. It's called Flask Cores. So I'm going to add it in the list here. Maybe under Flask Cores. Right, and simply we just can import it here and then apply the CORS policy to the whole application. We don't care much about security at this point. So once that is done, we can rerun the backend Wi-Fi scanner. And now, magically, when we perform the request up here, let's do it. Drum roll. We got nothing, but we don't get errors. So this is a good sign. We can check, of course, the request here. We can see that our request has been done. Response is empty. That's okay. Let's keep refreshing. We can see something happened. It's not static data anymore. So this is super exciting. This is the real Wi-Fi networks available at the moment. Let's keep refreshing. We got these 3. Now there are 4. Whoa, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there are many now, and it's working. That's pretty cool. We have the signal. So these are the real Wi-Fi data. Let's see what we have on the right. The band, signal strength. Super awesome. Of course, we need to do something about the devices because at the moment it's still static fake data, what we have here, but this one is the real thing. Just do another refresh. It's completely random the way these Wi-Fi are scanned. Of course, we can think about later about to improve the backend. But this is great. It's working. It's a good feeling to see the result of our hard work. And the point, probably I would like to stress a little bit more about, is that what we did here, this little refactor, we didn't have to touch the React component at all. So we are kind of working at a level where we don't have to deal with who is using this fetch data. The data, the React components which are using this data are on the outer part of the React clean architecture. And so we don't have to practically edit the presentation file for this. We don't have to edit and go inside the component itself or do something crazy. This is what we want to avoid. We have separated the concern, and so we were able to do this update pretty easily, modifying that there. There will be more on this. We for sure can improve this use case, but this is a great result so far. So let's celebrate. Boom shakalaka. Yes. I hope we didn't celebrate too quickly. I realized that there is a little bit of a problem here. When we select, you probably noticed that that when we go over this Wi-Fi, which they have the same name but different band, I see this one is 5 and the other 2.4, which is my actually it's my Wi-Fi. Both of them they get highlighted because the ID internal it's using this one as it was supposed to be the common identifier, but what we should use instead is the BSSID. So this one is really the unique one apparently. So we need to update to avoid this kind of problem where we select one with the same name and two of them gets highlighted. So let's update this, of course. Okay, so here's what we are gonna do. This is the problem, right? Two nodes selected which have the same name but different BSSID. So here on our beloved component file, we are checking is selected with SSID. We can fix it like that using the BSSID. All right, save it. We can see that straight away, and now it's working. When we move the mouse one or the other. But here's the point. This logic, this is not the best place where to put some, let's say, business logic. This contains some information about the internal of the node, which might change in the future. Remember, we want the components to be as dumb as possible. So my rule of thumb is that if we have something like this, is selected, so some logic related to the visualization, then it's completely fine to have it here at the component level. But something which has to deal with business logic should be moved in some other places. I would say that something like this, it's enough to be moved inside the context. Like the node context, we could expose a function. If the logic is heavier, we could move that maybe in a use case or something else. For now, let's move it in the context. So let's expose a function here to do that. So here, we're gonna say const is node selected, and then this is just yes, a function. Yes, it knows. Yes, that's good. In select a return, we are doing basically the same thing, and then exposing this function. And probably we have to update the return type. So like that. And then here as well, the type, fantastic. It's complaining about something. Undefined is not assigned to Boolean. So how about updating this? Here we return false and save it. I realized that I was updating the file, but you guys couldn't see that. What I changed was adding the function here is not selected, which is returning the check of the BSS ID, and then I just updated the interface here and the context with the initial value. Cool. Wonderful. Now I can put it there and use it, grabbing it from the context like that, and then we can use it. So we just need to use it here. Save it. Boom shakalaka, it's working. Let's do a little bit of more cleaning here. We don't need this one. Perfect.